Now, when you create a shape to begin with, or any sort of layer, it will have an anchor point. An anchor point is the area around which your shape either scales up or around which it rotates. So for example, when I select this shape, you'll see this anchor point in the center. And this is the anchor point, so it would rotate around and or scale up around this point here. So if I press R to get to rotation and I twirl it around, you see it's rotating around the center. Now say for example, I want this to rotate along the bottom rather than from the center. What I can do is move my anchor point. And to do that, you've got a couple different options. The first one is come up to the pan behind tool or the anchor point tool. And this is the hotkey Y. And that allows me to drag and change the position of my anchor point. And you notice when I'm dragging it around, it's not clipping or snapping to anywhere. If I want it to snap to a particular corner or the center, I need to hold down Control or Command, and that will allow me to then snap. And you'll see these guides pop up. And so if I snap it to the bottom corner down here, and now I go to rotation, you'll see that I'll get this cool little windshield wiper sort of thing, right? So now I can move this around the particular anchor point. So if you're animating a character, for example, you would want the legs to move from the top of the leg rather than the bottom. I mean, you could do whatever you want and be fine. So here, if I have this rotate, I'm gonna jump to 1 second and just swing it back to the other side. And I can copy this keyframe here, and I just did Command C on it, and I'm gonna jump to 2 seconds and Command V. So we'll get this nice sort of swishing back and forth. That'll happen. And what's cool is, I don't have to have my rotation point around this particular object. I could have it such as I can move it outside my shape. And make sure if you want to move your shape, go back to the actual move tool. So I'm going back to V or the move tool up top here. And let's drag my black circle above. And so if I want this to rotate rather than here, because I can't really see it rotating around the center point, what I can do is say I want it to snap to the middle of this shape. I can go to my pan behind tool, drag it, and if I hold down Control, I can get it to snap to the center of another shape. So here, if I then go in and do a rotation, it'll rotate around this point. And so now what's kind of cool, and let's reset that back to 0, is if I parent these objects together, so I'm going to parent my black rectangle, my black circle to the yellow rectangle, right? It's going to move along with it. But I could also combine this with a rotation at the same time. So if I come in and let's just set this back to 0, and I'm going to hit rotation here, and I jump to here, and I say, let's do 1 full rotation. Notice it didn't see any movement. That's because it did 1 full rotation. But I come back, it's going to rotate around that center point. And if I wanted this to really feel like a loop, I'm going to snap it to those points here. So this is kind of cool because then you can start to really build some complex movements from just simpler ones. If your anchor point for some reason goes totally out of place and you want to reset it, what you can do is instead of moving it back and trying to recenter it, what you can do is you can go to Layer, Transform, and Center Anchor Point and Layer Content. So it's going to look at where your anchor point is and center it right in the center of your shape. But that's providing you only have one shape on your your layer, or you don't have multiple objects. But if you're just doing one shape per shape layer, then this will work, and that'll snap it back to your position there. And what's interesting is we won't see any rotations happening because it's a circle. So that was the reason that we offset it there.